Zaman Ali.
Yeah, who starts for John Wall?
Eric Gordon. Same starters besides that.
Kelly Eco.
Is there anything particular that you're trying to see tonight, apart from obviously get the win?
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to establish a recipe for success. And obviously after the first game, it's going to be a harder game. And we're going to have attention to detail, and we're going to have to make adjustments. I'm sure they're making adjustments. So playing the same team twice presents problems, presents, familiarity that they have, and they're not going to be giving up a lot of the things that they gave up in the first game. So part of it is making sure that we're doing what we're supposed to do on both ends of the floor, and setting ourselves up for success just based on how we play, and then also reacting to the adjustments that they make, and make sure that we're not expecting to make 28 threes again. How are we going to get the same quality shots? And how are we going to make sure that our offense is moving in the right direction?
Mark Berman.
Stephen, a couple of questions. First of all, on Eric, what is it about him that allows him to be able to handle this kind of a role, whether either he's your lead guy off the bench or you can start him when you need to start him?
It's so valuable to have. There's not very many guys who are able to do that, right? And coming into this situation, one of the first conversations I had with him was, I don't want to have you kind of going back and forth. I want you to have the role of either a starter or coming off the bench. And the way that it's played out with, John not playing back-to-backs and Vic not playing back-to-backs, we need Eric to be able to do both. And he is successful at both. He's been totally professional when it comes to the role, and playing a few more minutes or a few less minutes based on kind of what we have out there. But, to be a consistent, trustworthy professional that he is great for us, because that's a tough spot to be in, and he's excelled in it.
I believe you've touched on this with the media about Victor on a back-to-back, but Mason said this morning Victor will not play tomorrow night. Is that the case?
Yeah, I'm not going to totally commit to it, but probably not.
Brian Bearfield.
Coach, I think the one thing that's getting lost in this 6-game winning streak that no one's talking about is the fact that you all have won 4 games on the road. Can you talk about how important that is, especially since you all had a 1-5 start on the road before that 4-game winning streak?
Yeah, it's honestly, it's a little different on the road now with no fans and stuff, but it still takes a group that can come together. It takes, the the tough kind of routine stuff that we have as far as the testing in the hotel and not being able to go out of the hotel and coming to the arena, and that's about it. It's a very different experience just outside of playing the games, and actually playing the games, yeah, it's a big deal. To win games on the road, regardless, is always a hard thing, and we've been buckling down. And one thing that is usually a constant in the NBA is if you're a good defensive team, then you'll be a good road team. And we've been good on the defensive end for the last handful of games, and our road record is a result of that.
Jonathan Fagan.
With 2 guys out today, maybe I guess tomorrow as well, do you expand the rotation and add somebody so that it's still 10, or do you just go with 9?
Yeah, I have 10 right now. I always have the flexibility to go from 10 to 9 based on kind of how the game is going, how the group is playing. But right now I have it at 10, and we'll kind of just read it as the game goes along. But I have to make sure that I always have a ball handler on the floor and someone who can initiate offense. So Eric or Vic most likely will always be on the floor, and then Mason Jones will kind of fill in if there's a need for another ball handler.
So with Mason then playing more than the last few games, I know he had to sort of finish up the route minutes, but what are the things that you want to see that he has learned from the previous time he was in the rotation?
Yeah, there's a couple of things, and we've talked about this. I talked with him about this day before yesterday, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And the defensive end is something that he needs to concentrate on, and just kind of being into the ball and early to his coverages and early to his help, and just kind of locked in on the defensive end, but also on the offensive end, using the gifts that he has to make the other guys on the floor better. And he can shoot the ball and he can score the ball, but there's a play that he made in the last OKC game where the ball moved. He started with it. The ball moved to the weak side. The ball moved back to him. And then Boogie set a step-up screen, and he took it down, drew the second defender, threw it back to Cuz, and Cuz made the three. And that showed some growth, some improvement. And those are the kind of things that we're looking for, like little small things where he's drawing the second defender and helping Cuz play to his strengths. Those are some of those things that we're looking for.
Thank you.
Ali Kambajani.
Hey, Stephen. When we spoke with Mason today at Shoot Around, he mentioned the term blue line help. I'm not sure if that is something you can expand on, but does that have to do with like blue and ice pick and roll coverage? I've heard it before as a hockey term, but not in basketball. And how important has your players' point of attack defense been to this winning streak and where your defense currently ranks?
I have no idea what blue line help is. I don't. So.
Yeah, I was kind of confused when I heard it the first time. Maybe I misheard what he was saying, but I wanted to ask.
Yeah, I think maybe you misheard what he was saying. But yeah, I don't know what blue line help is.
Ben DeBose.
Coach, you touched on earlier how limited all of your activities are on the road, basically a hotel and the arena. On that front, the NBA announced today that it had 0 positive tests last week, just 1 the week before that. Obviously, that's way down from when these policies were put into place. Given the sacrifices that you guys are making, does it come as a relief to get that data and see that the policies are, actually working as the league intended?
Yeah, definitely is a relief. We're doing a lot. We're testing a lot. We're sacrificing a bunch, and we're not able to, just kind of live normal life, just like everybody else in the world. So we're all kind of going through this together, and the NBA has been very proactive and done a lot of research and study, and have done a great job as far as putting a plan together for all of us to be healthy and for our fans to be healthy. So it's great that there's only been a couple positive tests, and the amount of games that are being canceled are diminishing, and we're moving right along with the season. They've made another adjustment to the rules where we have to wear these masks, and these will be what we're wearing moving forward. And it's just another thing that the NBA feels that we should do, and we are in total compliance and understand that, like I said, like months ago, the season is very much about adaptability and who can adapt the best and who can kind of do it in a way that you have a good attitude about it. And if you have a bad attitude about it, every single change is going to be like, oh, it's just another thing. But if you have a good attitude, knowing that the league has what's in everybody's best interest at heart, then you just do it and worry about winning and losing games.
Adam Spolin.
Stephen, you guys have another back-to-back next week. Is there the procedures with John and Vic? Is that basically going to be how that goes for next week's back-to-back?
Most likely. Yeah, most likely. We're kind of trying to figure out which game is which for each guy. But that's kind of how it's going to be for the at least immediate future.
How do you guys decide which game? Is that just like one of those random things, or
No, the performance team, Rafael, myself, the players, we all get together and kind of figure out what looks best and come up with a plan. We came up with a plan a few weeks ago, actually. So it's something that we've put a lot of thought into, and we are just kind of going along with the flexibility of if there's something that needs to be changed day before game, day of game, we're able to do it.
Nick Gallo.
Hey, Stephen, just at the outset of Black History Month, I was thinking about that in the NBA context and about your dad and his role as Players Association president in 1976 when the free agency lawsuit was settled and free agency began in the NBA. I was just curious if you've had conversations with him about that time and the courage that it took to fight for that in the 70s.
Yeah, I've had a lot of conversations with my dad about that stuff over the years, and it was hard. I mean, to be free, the whole concept of free agency was like foreign, and for these guys to fight for free agency, amongst other things, it wasn't like they were fighting just for free agency. They were fighting for, you know, equality and justice and all of these things when it comes to that time. Obviously, the 70s, things were starting to kind of normalize as far as what they did in the 60s to kind of set them up, but there was still a ways to go, a long ways to go. And for him to be kind of at the forefront of the Players Association movement, along with, you know, the Oscar Robertsons of the world, and all the way up to when Patrick Ewing was president of the Players Association, that's an important job. And you see what Chris Paul is doing and all of the guys who are really entrenched in the Players Association movement and goals that they have. It's an important place because you're leading a group of mostly African American men, and you're also leading a group of Americans, or just, you know, there's a lot of foreign players as well, but just a large group of people where you're trying to do what's best for everybody. And it's definitely a hard position to be in, but they handle it so well. Every guy who's been in that position has really just done a great job of handling it. And my dad was one of those guys, and it's an amazing thing to kind of look back and see.
Thank you.
Last question, Mark Berman.
Stephen, a couple quick ones. Is there an update on David Nwaba?
No update. He was moving around pretty well and shoot around today, but he will not play today.
You mentioned this mask that you're wearing. Is there something different or specific about this mask that you guys are wearing now as stipulated by the league?
I don't know. It's supposed to be, I don't know. I guess it's supposed to be better. It feels tighter. It feels like I can't really like pull it down as much. You probably can't hear me quite as well, or.
I hear you fine.
Okay, well, it's different, but it's supposed to be better, I believe.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep.